We are officially less than 2 weeks away from the 2025 NFL Draft. What should the Jets do, not only with the seventh overall pick, but with every single draft pick they have this year? What is the blueprint for Gang Green to win the 2025 NFL Draft? We'll talk about that and much more, all coming up here on a Saturday edition of NY Flight Jets Talk, joined by our draft analyst, Cole Thompson, here in his weekly spot on the show, right here, right now on NY Flight Jets Talk.
Jets, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Samini, Jets reporter for The Athletic Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer and Jets legend Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Law.
What is going on, everyone? Hello and welcome back here to another edition of NY Flight Jets Talk. I appreciate you all tuning in here on the show. Make sure you smash that like button and you are subscribed to the channel. It's completely free and it helps us grow significantly here on the show. Throw all your questions, comments in the chat. Call into the show with the pinned comment if you want to get into our membership raffle. If you want to support the show in a paid way, every $2.99 super chat or every gifted membership will get you an entry into our raffle. The prize we're giving away included Dan Maynard signed photo, Joe Klecko signed helmet, Joe Namath Super Bowl III replica ring, CJ Mosley signed jersey, a free item from our merch store, channel emoji. Getting on that if you haven't already. The more tickets you have, the higher chance you have to win. But let's get right into it. Joining me right now here, who joins us every single Saturday leading up to the NFL Draft. So just thinking about it, we only got a few more appearances left on the show, and it's our guy Cole Thompson who's kind enough to grace us with his presence. Cole, how you doing?
Connor, it's a busy Saturday as it always is around here. But you know what? We got to talk Jets. We got a better outlook. We know what kind of direction the team is looking at pick number 7. And that might set the tone for the rest of the draft, depending on what happens with those first 6 picks.
Cole, I want to get your thoughts on some of the top 30 visits the Jets have got, some of the prospects the Jets have kind of hosted. Two names that have caught my eye, and I'm working on a column about this for Jets X Factor, Mykel Williams and Derek Harmon. Those two names caught my eye because 7, I think, would be viewed as a little rich for both of those prospects. Obviously, look at Derek Harmon as kind of that guy who's going to play on the inside for you, going to disrupt the run game, going to provide you value as a pass rusher. And then Mykel Williams is kind of the guy who has those solid traits, more of an end of the first round guy. You want him coming off the edge. Do you think that tells you anything, Cole, about the Jets draft plans, potentially trying to hint for a trade down, looking for a defensive lineman? Or my point is, how much stock do you really put into these top 30 visits when it comes to these first round guys?
I mean, I put stock in it, but the reason why is not always for the reason you think. So most people look at the top 30 visits and they're saying these are the guys that we're targeting in this year's draft. That's not always the case. Sometimes what you're doing is you're looking at the personality for the current status of your team. And let's just say 4 or 5 years from now, Aaron Glenn is still the coach. And this is a player that enters free agency. And you have a good visit, but you realize there's other pressing needs that you have to address first. You like his skill set. He continues to transition into the way that you see fit. And so then you're looking at him as a free agent 4 or 5 years down the line to where you can go ahead and sign him and you already know he's going to have a great rapport and that this is a player that you want to invest in. A lot of these visits, what they're doing is they're making sure that they have a good foundation for what could be an eventual trade, what could eventually be if you fall down the draft board. So there's a lot of different things that go into it. Derek Harmon is really interesting because yes, you do have an interior need to pair alongside with Quinnen Williams. I don't know if he'll be there when you're on the clock at pick number 42, but if you were able to trade on up at the start of day 2, or if you want to move back in at the end of round 1 to get yourself a defensive player to work for Aaron Glenn, that makes a lot of sense. Mykel Williams is a really intriguing one because you're talking about a trade down scenario, but the teams that might be wanting to trade on up at pick number 7 also could be interested in Mykel Williams. I mean, the Carolina Panthers are sitting there at pick number 8. And I've spoken to some people out in Charlotte. I've spoken to some people around the area. They're very sold on both of the Georgia defensive line, both the Georgia edge rushers. So that's one where it's like, are you moving back one spot, maybe picking up a 4th round pick to see if they want to go get Jalen Walker, or if it's Mykel Williams, they're really good about getting that extra 4th round pick to go select Tyler Warren or Amon Membo if he's there. Like that's where my brain looks at that scenario. I think that the Derek Harmon one adds a little bit more juice because At this point, I think the Jets are going offense on at pick number 7 or with their first selection, wherever that may be. But if you wanted to go fully invest in Aaron Glenn and get him that dude for his defense, a Derek Harmon at the end of round 1, or if you were to fall to the beginning of day 2, where you trade on up from 42, I could see a scenario where that happens. But a lot of 30 visits, I don't put some stock into. You meet with them. Sometimes it's nothing more than just a physical check. Sometimes it's more of you're doing your due diligence. You know who you're going to draft, and another team's like, hey, can you go get us some intel on what this kid's about, what this kid's like? Maybe we'll work out a trade with you later on, and we've already used up our top 30 visits. There's a lot of things that go into it. It's probably, I would say, 10% of the evaluation.
I get what you're saying there with 1,000%. A player I want to get your thoughts on specifically who the Jets did host for a top 30 visit. Obviously, you're based in Texas. I'm assuming you're familiar with this player. Andrew Makupa, the safety from the Longhorns. He's an interesting guy because he was born in Africa, kind of came here when he was a teenager, started playing football, he won ACC Rookie of the Year during his freshman season, spent 2 seasons there, then transferred to Texas. He's someone I really, really like for his explosiveness. The main concern for me, though, is his tackling issue. I think he had like a 14.8, something of that nature, missed tackle rate when the league average for a safety is around 10%. Thoughts on how Mogupa can potentially fit into Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilkes' defensive scheme with, although signing Andre Cisco in free agency and tendering Tony Adams, I think the Jets still need some help at the safety room. Do you view Mogupa as a solid day 2 option for a team? Where do you see him landing?
You know who he reminds me a lot of when he was coming out? A guy that Aaron Glenn just worked with who led the NFL in interceptions, Kirby Joseph.
Ooh.
So I see a scenario with it. I do wonder, is his long speed going to allow him to play in that center fielding type safety the way that like Marcus Williams was coming out of Utah in 2018? Are you going to have to play him more near the line of scrimmage? And is he going to have to be more of a nickel defender because if that's where he's better at it? But the tackling is a big issue. Kalen Balak's another one of those guys that when you remember when he was coming out of USC, everyone talked about the ball skills. And Makuba does a really good job of tracking the ball in the air, and he does a good job of playing in man coverage. And he's got enough speed to where if you're asking to play in a zone system, he could work over the top, that he will be able to create those turnovers. But the tackling was an issue. And the tackling was still an issue for Balak last year, but he got better. Pick 42 is a little rich for me when it comes to Makuba. That's one of those where you want to trade on down. Maybe you get into that 50 range, and then he's there. It's a fit stylistically, I think, for the Jets. I think that when you look at his overall closing speed on balls, I think when you look at his ability to win in man coverage, I think as you look at his zone capabilities, I think that there were some things that really stood out. And you got to realize, he was the unsung hero for Texas's defense this past year. Like, Jahdae Barron is an absolute stud and deserves all of this top 15 status.
Exactly.
Recommending at this point. I love Jahdae Barron's tape. And it's why I don't understand, when people are talking about how weak of a cornerback class this year is. It's not Will Johnson. You got Jahdae. You got Travis Hunter. You got
Trey Amos in the second round, Darian Porter. All these guys.
Siobhan Ravel, I still think, again, fully healthy is one that I can buy a lot of stock into. So there's a lot to like about the cornerback class, even though there maybe won't be an all-pro in the making or a CB1 shutdown guy. But like Makuba, he was such a good find for a defense that in 2023 cost them an opportunity to win a national championship. I mean, like when you look back at that 2023 defense of Texas, they were a play away against Washington in the Sugar Bowl to go into the national title game. And there's a part of me that looks at that and say, they ranked 85th in pass coverage. Makuba comes in, and they're the number 2 pass defense team in the country. So you have some incredible value of a guy like him that has upside and can run to the football and can close the gaps really well. I don't like him at 42, but I do like him for Aaron Glenn. So there's a scenario where if God forbid he fell to round 3, pick 65, I am offering whatever I can to go get him because that is incredible value at that point. 42 is one where if you got to decide if you're going with like a Derek Harmon type or you like that type of player, you got to move up to go get him. If you like an Andrew Makuba, maybe move back to 7 or 8 spots. Let somebody else come on up and get themselves a running back. Like somebody come on up and get themselves a wide receiver because maybe you're going to go target a wide receiver in round 3 and then go land your safety. But the Jets want a safety. I understand the fit. And with Andre Cisco being here on a 1-year deal, nothing is promised with him. A guy like Makuba gives you 4 years of roster control.
Cole, I know we've talked about Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green quite a
Yeah,
bit here
yeah,
on the
yeah.
show. And
Yeah, what do you
I
want
want
to
to I want to get your thoughts
know?
on. I wrote a column for JetX. Three later round tight ends I'd really like the Jets to go after. Fannin was one for me, but
Yeah.
the two other guys I want to get your thoughts on.
All right.
Gunnar Helm from Texas. I really really like him in the rounds
Now, time
yeah,
out. What do you mean later round? Are you talking
four to
about like
five rounds 4 to 5.
I don't know if he's there in 4. Now, okay,
I
if he's
don't
there
know
in
if he.
4,
Wow.
if he's there in 4, okay, I'll listen to it. That's a really good fit. But I think he's gone around 3 personally.
So you think he's gonna? What about Oronde Gadsden in like the 5th or 6th round?
Ooh.
I
Okay,
really really like him as a converted
Oronde
receiver.
Gadsden, not to be disrespectful at all.
Oh.
Oronde Gadsden is basically Harold Fannin. I mean, he's big wide receiver.
Uh,
He's a big wide receiver. Do you think he's a good
I think he
blocker?
has more value as a blocker, though. Like I think Syracuse like allowed him to showcase his blocking ability more once they converted him to tight end.
I think of him as a big receiver. Like that, like that's my thing. So he's a late. I'll give you this. You're 100% right. He's a late round find. He's a guy that I think is going to go somewhere in like that late round 4, 5th round kind of range. Maybe even
Mm.
6 if you were to go a little bit deeper. I could see a scenario where if there's not a run on tight ends, you can go after him. I just view him more as a receiving threat. That's my issue. Like, I think that, yes, maybe he'd be a better blocker than what Harold Fannin is, but I've already told you this many times, Connor. Harold Fannin is a wide receiver that is masquerading as a tight end because if he isn't fast enough to be able to play on the outside, and you want him to win at what he does best, which is yards after contact, which is what you do when you put him inside. I think that Gadsden offers you maybe a little bit better when it comes to blocking, but the similar skill sets. He's a very good route runner. He's very good after the catch. He's physical in the open field. When you watch him play, I mean, he's hauling in balls, and then we just see him continue to win those one-on-one matchups against safeties and linebackers. He's in that like little specific range that I think is really interesting in a player of too big to cover for a safety, too fast to cover for a linebacker, which is a good trait to have. And I think that there's value in adding in a tight end of his skill set, but we've talked about this many a time. If you want to bring him in, I think you need to go bring in a blocking tight end. We've talked about Jackson Hawes. Like, if you go get Harold Fannin and you promise me that Jackson Hawes is coming as a package deal to where one is going to be used in 12 personnel to help out run blocking, one's going to be used as a receiving threat, I'm totally cool with that. I think Gadsden gets you away from maybe going after a Jackson Hawes, and you can look at the undrafted free agent pool and see if there's maybe a tight end that falls into that range of really, really, really good blocker. But I just think that, once again, this is a dude that is more so known for his receiving attributes than his blocking attributes. Gunnar Helm, if he's there in round 4, go ahead and take him. I mean, it's a really good combination of everything that you want, but he's not perfect at anything. So he is a work in progress. You are going to have him play more efficiently when it comes to his run blocking. You are going to have him play more efficiently when it comes to winning his routes to the intermediate part of the field. But he was open a lot for Texas. He did a good job of winning his one-on-one battles. He was a decent enough blocker in the run support. In the red zone, he was a weapon. I think there's a lot of intrigue and upside for him. I like what a guy like Gunnar Helm provides for this team, for a team, especially in like that round 3 compensation pick area, early top 100 pick.
Got a few minutes left here with Cole, so we'll get to some of your questions in the chat. Before we do so, our guy Alan comes in with 10 gifted memberships. Alan, thank you so much.
Alan, are you happy that today is the day that we don't have to talk about bad quarterback play for Iowa because there's more shit going on in Tennessee? And are you happy?
He brings up Tennessee here, Cole.
Of course he does. Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Did you have Cole talk a little about the Nico Iamavella fiasco? What kind of advice is Dad getting? How will it affect his 2026 draft outlook?
Okay, let's start with the last question and work our way forward. How will it affect his 2026 draft outlook? It's the same as it is right now. I mean, Connor, let me ask you. Go back to the start of this year, Cam Ward. What were you thinking about him as a quarterback?
Well, I mean, you look at last year's pre-draft process, he was viewed as a 3rd or 4th round guy. I think I was high on him entering the season just because I knew,
Sure.
I think because this is a far weaker quarterback class, and I think a lot of us knew that entering the 2024 college season.
Sure.
I had a feeling he was going to be a top guy, and I think he kind of proved his worth. I mean, let's keep in mind, though, Elijah Arroyo, his tight end, finally a fully healthy season for him.
Yeah.
Like, his pass catchers, like, really stepped up around him. I was thinking Cam Ward is like a day 2 guy entering the season, but if he put together a good solid season, which he did, I knew he was going to skyrocket up boards, just given some of the quarterback needy teams and, you know, how weak this quarterback class is. Supply and demand.
Um, how about remember when Joe Burrow was coming out in 2019? I mean, remember Joe Burrow's first season at LSU? And then, do you remember what grade he had when he was getting ready for the 2019 season?
Third round, fourth round?
6th round grade.
Yeah, something like that.
Winning solves everything. Winning in production solves everything. So Nico right now for me would be a day 3 pick. If he were to come out in 2026, he's a day 3 pick no matter where he goes. Doesn't matter if he goes to Washington. Doesn't matter if he goes to USC, Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas Tech, BYU, North Carolina. He's a day 3 pick right now. You win, you show the growth, you show the attributes that were on display when you were coming out of high school, and you're fully embracing your potential. You're shooting up draft boards. You're putting up the right production. You have the touch on the ball. You have the poise, the accuracy, the footwork, the mobility, all the little attributes that stand out about Nico Iamaleava's game, and it works in a different system. Round 1 pick. But it's not changing because if he's leaving Tennessee. Let's move on to the next one. What kind of advice was his dad getting him? I don't want to speak in a broad subject because of it's a very bad look and I can get in trouble for saying it this way. But there's something about the culture where parents have a major say. And this is not uncommon because of Tua Tagovailoa's family had a major say on what happened with him and Talia when he was in Alabama. When Talia was not named the starter, they immediately made sure that he was a starter elsewhere. There's something about that to where it doesn't work in these negotiation tactics, and it won't. And the problem is, and this is where Alan can kind of come in, this is the world of college football as we know it right now. And it's sad and it's depressing. And Connor, this is a world that unfortunately, because you're 15, you're going to grow up and you're going to see.
13.
You're 13?
Yeah.
God dang it. You're a deeper voice than me and you're 15 years old. I fell in love with college football and it became literally a major point in my life, so much so that I've turned it into a career at 9 years old. Like, it has been such a big part of who I am as a person and how it has molded me into several of the paths I've gone down. You're growing up in a college football world that is completely extinct to me. Like, the dire wolves that were brought back after 30,000 years or whatever, that 100,000 years or whatever, they were supposed to be extinct. That's the world of college football I grew up in because NIL is a thing. And I am always going to be for players getting paid. I am always going to be for you signing on a dotted line to make money based off of what your accolades are in any line of work. YouTube, college football, athletics, MLB. You go ahead and have you go ahead and be in a video game. Like I'm all for that. I am. But when there's no regulations and when the NCAA is not harping down on these infractions and making sure that that these rules are set in place, it's normal. This is the new norm.
Yep.
Hey, this one program that may or may not end up paying you is saying they will pay you $12 million. We're going to get paid $12 million. Now, you may or may not have that money, but if you think that that's what you're worth, $12 million, you can go into a holdout with your school and say, I will not play another down for you until you match this NIL offer because if this is what I think I'm worth. And credit to Tennessee. Tennessee said, if you're going to miss practice, if you're not going to be here a day before our spring game, and you want to go into contract negotiations about your deal, we don't have time for this. You are not bigger than our program. You are not bigger than our university. We have over 100 other students that want to wear the orange and white and be proud of volunteer football. And so if you think that you can make more money elsewhere, more power to you, buddy. Best of luck. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. And that's what really is going on. But with the fiasco part of this isn't new. I mean, with Tennessee alone, Tennessee had 2 players, Boo Carter and Mike Matthews. One was rumored to go into the transfer portal, got a brand new NIL deal. They were negotiating behind closed doors, just like Nico was doing. Mike Matthews entered the transfer portal because he didn't like his NIL deal. Guess what? Decided to go on in. They immediately met him with a brand new deal. It was to his liking. Said, thanks. I'm going to go sign here. I'm going to go play for you in 2025. This is not new in the world of college football. The new part is that now we're hearing they are moving off of or they're cutting ties with because of it's just like free agency. It's like a release. And that is something that we're going to have to get used to. And until the NCAA decides to actually sit on down and regulate this stuff, sit on down and actually come up with rules and ramifications. If you sign a contract with NIL that's worth $2.5 million for 2 years, you have to honor that deal. Until it happens, this is the new norm. This isn't the last one. You will see another high-profile player enter the transfer portal. because they did not get the NIL deal that they want. They marched into the coach's office and said, this is how much X quarterback is making. This is how much X quarterback is making. I deserve to make as much as them. We're not paying you that. Have fun elsewhere. And they will go until it's settled by the NCAA, which it won't because of, again, the NCAA is in charge of all athletics and not just college football. This will happen. BYU just spent $6 million on the number one recruit in the country in basketball. The number one recruit in the country in basketball, $6 million for 1 year. It's their money. They can do it. And until we get these regulations, it's going to happen. So there you go. That's my take.
Yeah. This one I'll say. I know you got to run, Cole. This one I'll say though quickly here.
I can say a little bit longer.
I appreciate it. Here's what I'll say quickly on Nico. His first few years at Tennessee, he's certainly shown he has the upside. He has the potential to be a solid quarterback. He's too raw for me, though. Like, he's not someone I think if he came out next year, he would be the number one quarterback in next year's class. The guys that no, 1,000%. The guys I like in next year's class, Garrett Nussmeier right now is my top guy. I really like Cade Klubnik from Clemson. I want to get your thoughts quickly on Carson Beck. This is someone who has been in college for a little while, kind of polar. I really, really like Carson Beck. I mean, this is someone who has led his team deep in the college football playoffs, someone who has a lot of experience at the college level, someone who's had success. Where would you rank Carson Beck today out of the quarterbacks in next year's draft?
It's a hard answer. It's so hard, and the reason why is because of two things. Number one, the elbow injury. Like he's getting so. Mario Cristobal announced this past week that he will start throwing at practice. Now, the spring game's going to be over today. They're done with spring practice, but he will start throwing this weekend. If the elbow is healed, you gotta wonder: are we going to see a more complete version of him that we saw in 2023 versus what we saw in 2024? When I look at Carson Beck, two things can be true at once. He put his team in jeopardy of losing multiple games. The Alabama game specifically. He had 4 interceptions in that one, 3 in the first half. But then there's also the fact of Georgia led the country in drops last year. Georgia led the country in missed routes last season. Georgia led the country in failed opportunities to score inside the red zone, and their offensive line was nowhere near what we're used to seeing, and their running back room that has always been a staple was kind of a bust. It really was. So he's going to a pass-friendly offense underneath Shannon Dawson that just got Cam Ward to become the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft. He will have weapons there. This is a veteran offensive line. I think they're losing one guy from their starting offensive line. They have the best left tackles in college football coming back. If it doesn't work now, he's probably, I would say, the 4th or 5th best quarterback in next year's draft. If it works the way they did for Cam Ward, he could be number 1. He can. I mean, like, I personally, if you were to ask me right now, where would I have him? I would say QB5. I think I would take Garrett Nussmeier over him. Arch Manning, I'll just throw in there. Because of whether or not Arch comes out. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. Arch is not coming out, according to people that I've spoken to. Arch will be in college football for 2 years as a starter. So I'm putting him in here because of the upside of what he has and the intangibles and just being part of that Manning lore and being in that quarterback family for years. I think it's going to carry a little bit of weight. He would be there. Cade Klubnik would absolutely be there. And I like Sam Levitt from Arizona State.
No Lenora Sellers?
If you want me to throw Lenore Sellers in because
no, I was just curious.
No, because I just don't know if he's going to come out next year. So it's like the same thing with Arch. So if Lenore Sellers came on in, I'll throw him in there. And then you know what? I'll throw Drew Aller in there because I think that Drew Aller has. I think Drew Aller, when you look at him from the size and from what NFL GMs look for, and a lot of the things that are issues. There's bad wide receiver play. There was inconsistent play calling from Andy Kolotnicki. There's a lot of things that were going against him. There's a team that can sell itself into believing that Drew Aller's the right answer. Like Bo Nix had a 3rd round grade on him and he went 12th overall. Like there's a team that can buy themselves into believing Drew Aller with what his physical traits are. He will be the starting guy. And then you never know who could be the other guy. I would take all of them over Carson Beck right now because of the decision making is an issue. And I want to make sure that you got to ask yourself going into this year, what was it? Was it the personnel around him or was it the persona that ended up hurting his stats last season to where he didn't even consider going to the NFL draft. Yeah, he said he was going to the NFL draft. He was never going to the NFL draft. What he was doing was he was putting himself in a position to go, I'm not coming back to Georgia. Somebody make me an offer. Miami made him an offer. There were 2 other schools that were interested in him. They made him the best deal. And now he's going to go play in Coral Gables and better his draft stock. He did what Cam Ward did last year. That's what he did. But he was never looking forward to it. And that was because of how he played this past year. So what was it? Was it the personnel or was it the persona? You'll find more about that out in Miami this year. It's a weaker it's a weaker conference. It's lesser tier competition, and he has 2 years of starting experience underneath his belt. And he took his team to a college football playoff appearance and an SEC title back-to-back years. I mean, he did that. So you gotta wonder what else is there to prove.
Cole, you're the best. Can't thank you enough for sparing some time. And next time we talk, we'll be less than a week away from the NFL draft.
We will, buddy. We will. It's getting close.
For sure.
It's 2 players. I mean, do you want me to say? Because we barely spoke Jets about what's going to happen to pick number 7. So I'll just tell you right now, it's 2 players, in my opinion, right now. It's Armand Membo, and it's Tyler Warren. If they're saying it's 7, it's Tyler Membo. I mean, it's Tyler Warren or it's Armand Membo. Get to know those names. Get to love those jerseys. Get to figure out which one is your jersey size. Who do you think would look better in gang green? What graphic looks better? What would you rather have? A weapon for Justin Fields or a blocker for Justin Fields? But that's what I think it's going to be at this point. Now the question is, does somebody love the other one enough to where they're moving on up to go ahead and make sure that they're landing not in New York at pick number 7?
Cole, appreciate you sparing some time. As always, have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cole Thompson checking in here on the show. Joins us every single week leading up to the draft. So only got one more appearance left with Cole before the NFL draft. So appreciate all your support as always. Follow Cole, one of the best in the business, at Mr. Cole Thompson on all social medias. I'll stay on social media platforms. I'll stay on here a little longer. Answer your questions. Take your calls. Keep the questions coming in the chat. We'll get to those. Call in with the pinned comment. Like, share, and subscribe, everyone. Completely free. Helps us grow significantly. Shout out to Alan, who gifted 10 memberships earlier. If you want to get into our membership raffle, you can do so. Every $2.99 super chat or gifted membership will get you a ticket into our raffle. Prize we're giving away include it's started the wrong way. Tom Maynard signed photo, Joe Klecko signed helmet, Joe Namath Super Bowl III replica ring, CJ Mosley signed jersey, a free item from our merch store, and a channel emoji. More tickets you have, the higher chance you have to win. Just make sure you get in on that if you haven't already. Super chats, memberships, like, share, and subscribe. Those are the ways to contribute to the show. Appreciate you as always. Alan comes in, says, could Atlanta offer us a 2026 first to jump from 15 to 7 and jump Carolina to take Jalen Walker? I'll say this, Alan. We saw the report the other day from Jeff Benedict, a Falcons insider, someone who is based in the Atlanta, Georgia area for Sports Talk Radio. I'll say this. He isn't known to break a ton of stories, but if this is true, I would 1000% be on board. That's my kind of answer here, Alan. If you can get an extra first-round pick to slide down 8 spots in the order, I'm doing that any day of the week. There's no player I'm completely sold on at 7. Armand Membu, Tyler Warren, both respectively solid players. Unless Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter somehow falls to pick number 7, trade back still my number 1 option. Unless one of those guys is available, when the Jets pick a number 7, trade back is my number 1 option. So I can tell you right now, both those guys are not going to be there when the Jets pick. So trade down is definitely my number 1 option right now. Alan says, this is a rich DT draft. I keep hearing a lot will jump off the board between 33 and 55. Could the Jets wait till pick 73 or even 110 to get a starter next to Quinnen? They can wait to add someone. Here's what I'll say, Alan. Pull up my board with some of the guys I have here who I like in at the defensive tackle position with some of the later rounds. Let me get this up on my other tab quickly so I can rattle you off some of those names I think will be available. And one of the later rounds, someone I think could be a good fit next to Quinnen, maybe a guy like CJ West from Indiana. Is he going to be a solid starter for you right away? No, but he's someone, if you want to wait till day 3, he's a developmental type pick you can try to make. So CJ Walker, probably a 3rd, 4th round guy, I would say. Another guy like Jamari Caldwell from Oregon. He's a bigger body. You can plug in the middle. JJ Pegues from Mississippi, same thing. He's a lot of versatility. Those the guy, like, I would take let me throw out a name. I would take a Joshua Farmer I would take a Joshua Farmer in round 3. I would take a Shamar Turner in round 3, and Alfred Collins and Omar Norman Lott in round 3 before rather wait till round 4 and 5 and land one of those guys. That's my opinion on the names there. Cape 10 Condor. Any world we take Ted McMillan over Tyler Warren. I would love Jets taking Ted McMillan. I just don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. They should, though. Like, they really, really should be considering Ted McMillan with this number 7 overall pick. This is someone who can come in and be the big-bodied wide receiver 2 opposite Garrett Wilson, who's going to get you all these contested catches. Someone who you can, line up. His versatility, you can line him up in the. I like him as a Z. I really, really like Ted McMillan as a Z, and I would certainly be open to selecting him. That's a pick I would really, really like. Ted would be it. Ted is a pick. The Jets make that pick. I'm going to be excited. Tyler Warren, I'm going to be somewhat excited. Armand Membu, I'm going to be like, all right. Mason Graham, I'm going to be like, what the hell are we doing? Those are the tiers there on who I would get excited, who I'd get disappointed over. Allen's his 4th or 5th round. Luke Lachey. Lachey's an interesting one from Iowa. I think he's a 5th or 6th round guy. Again, if you want to wait that long to take a tight end, I would be open to taking Lachey under the assumption that, okay, you get Lachey in the 5th or 6th, but then you also get a tight end in one of the earlier rounds. I would be okay with Lachey if you took 2 tight ends and he was one of them. Not as my only tight end in this year's class, though. I would not be okay with that. Brandon Joshua Farmer would be a very good value plug-and-play starter at 73, though defensive tackle with a premium pick would not be in my draft plans. Membu, pass catcher. I get what you're saying there. I think if you can go Farmer at 43, Tyler Warren in the 1st, and like Josh Connolly or Ariante Ursary in the 2nd, that could be really, really solid. That could be really, really solid. I wouldn't hate that at all. But I get what you're saying. If you go Membu, pass catcher. So if we had to follow that, I would probably go. If we followed your prompt, then obviously Membu would be the 1st round pick. Then I would lean more towards like a Jaden Higgins type guy in the 2nd round, and then you can go Harold Fadden in the 3rd. Like I think that's a solid top 3 picks as well. 1000%. I appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, smash the like, hit subscribe. We had limited time with Cole today, so we couldn't fire up our weekly mock. But hey, let's do it here on the show. I'm gonna let you guys make some of the picks as well. I'm gonna fire up this mock draft. And let's do this. So we appreciate you sticking with us as always. Wait, let me pop. There it goes. Way too. Here we go. 7 rounds. All right. Let me see if I can just bounce out. All right, that should be good. All right, let's start this up. Boom. All right, we got to. This is tough. I got to restart. I don't think Hunter's going to be there. We're going to try to keep this realistic. I'm going to bounce out because I don't think Hunter's going to be there. So we got to bounce out. As much as I said, that's one of the 2 guys I sprint up to the podium for. I don't think he's going to be there, so I kind of want to restart. All right, this is a more realistic shakeup. This is a more realistic shakeup here. So, wait, Alan says do a legit top 7, Connor. What do you mean, Alan? Explain, and I'll get back to you. So Titans go 1 with Cam Ward. That's gonna happen. Abdul Carter to the Browns makes sense. Hunter to the Giants. I think you can that definitely get behind that. Makes sense. Graham to the Patriots would be a surprise. Genty to the Jaguars. I would probably. I think what would make the most sense is Campbell to the Patriots. Genty to the Raiders. Graham to the Jaguars. That's what would make the most sense. But I mean, out of these 7, there's no crazy pick that surprises us here. So we'll look at the options. Tet is there. Tyler Warren is there. Armand Membu is there. Let's get into the trade backs though. This is where we look. Can we do this? You guys want to do this? 10 and 72. You get a 4th pick in the top 75. I would be open 1000%. This is what I'm looking at right here. Because then you slide back 3 spots. So it would be 10, 42, 73, 75. No, 72, 73. So you get the back-to-back. You get the two guys you want. Astral says, yeah, take it. I think I'm going to take this deal. Yeah, that's a good deal with the Bears. They come up for Jahdae Barron. And we're back on a Ted McMillan. Boom. Membu's off the board. But you still got Ted. You still got Tyler Warren. Mike Green, I know not a lot of people are, clamoring about, but I really, really like Mike Green. And yeah, this is. I don't want to trade back again because it's not going to happen on draft night. They're not going to trade back twice. But look, you have Tet on the board, Warren on the board. Like, where do you guys want to go? I want to get your thoughts here. I want to poll you guys. We'll stay out. We'll get your thoughts here. Cactus Johnny says take Warren and take Higgins in round 2. I could do that. Let me know where you guys want to go. My pick, if you could slide back too and get these assets, I would really, really prefer Ted here. But I see those saying Warren. Cap 10 says Ted. Cactus Johnny says Warren. See who else is going to come in. Ted McMillan, 60% contested catch rate, I believe it was. So yeah, 60% contested catch rate, 29 missed tackles forced. Like, this guy is a legit player. 85.8% receiving grade, great against man. I could get behind either one. I would prefer Ted, though. Like, even an outlier like Mike Green, who's going to provide you... I mean, look at these grades. Like, he's going to provide you so much value as not only a pass rusher coming off the edge with his explosiveness, also as a run stuffer. The chat's pretty much split right now. I'm going to throw up a poll. We'll throw up a poll in the chat. Ted, Warren. All right. You guys, let's see. Give you 30 seconds to vote here on the poll. Want to see really how you guys are feeling here. I think it's pretty much going to come down to 50-50. Again, I would lean more towards Ted. And I get why people would like Warren. I just think pairing a wide receiver to opposite Garrett Wilson is super, super important for this team. I mean, you can get a tight end who's going to provide you blocking value, who's going to provide you receiving value in one of the later rounds. That's the way I view it. 10 seconds left on the timer here to vote. Warren currently in cruise control. 7, 6, 5 for the live count. 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. That's it, baby. Tyler Warren wins the poll. He will be the pick at number 10 overall after we slide back 3 spots. So good stuff there. Tyler Warren now back on the clock at 42. Darius Alexander. This is a tough player for me to pass up on. Darius Alexander from Toledo. Very, very, very productive guy who you can plug in the middle of the line. I would be open to Darius Alexander 1,000%. I mean, you went Warrens, you can go Higgins in the second. Pass catcher. Princely, you may... I struggle with his last name, but this is a guy who, again, another very productive against the pass. Very, very productive against the run. Kind of a do-it-all guy. Donovan Jackson's another tackle who could maybe be your right tackle. He's a guy to consider. Is Ursary still available? Ursary's on the board. You can go with him. I like Alexander here. You use your top pick on a pass catcher in Tyler Warren. You can wait till one of the later rounds to get a wide receiver in the building now. I really want to go with Darius Alexander. We're going to put a poll in the chat. We'll do Alexander and Higgins. So you guys got 30 seconds to vote again. Poll's underway. Anyone can vote at the top of the chat. 22-21. Higgins in the lead. Again, everyone vote at the poll at the top of the chat on who you think we should draft. Higgins still in the lead, 75-25. You have less than 10 seconds to vote. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There it is. You guys wanted it, you get it. I would have preferred Darius Alexander, but it's your mock draft. We get Jaden Higgins. And back on the clock at 73. 72 and 73. Excuse me, we picked up that extra pick in the trade back. There are some players I really, really like here. Trapillo could be your... And this is the beauty part of the trade. You get back-to-back picks. So we're here at 72, and then boom, we're right back on at 73. Kevin Winston, someone I like. The injury concerns me, though, overall, and his coverage wasn't great. Keep in mind, minimal sample size, though, because of that ACL injury. Andrew Makupa, someone Cole and I were talking about. Cole really liked him as a third-round option, not in the second, but a third. Kyle Williams, I like him. Too much of a fast riser, though, for me to use a top 75 pick on. If I had to, again, I think we... Also, I don't think we should go with a wide receiver. We just took a wide receiver. Our first round pick was a tight end as well. I'm leaning Trapillo here. Alfred Collins. I see Alan and Sharon say Trapillo, so we'll take Trapillo here. And then we're back on. We haven't taken a run stuffer. I think Alfred Collins is your best bet here. Jets had a huge presence down at the Texas Pro Day. Seemed to really, really like Collins. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draft Collins here. I think that's the pick for this team. So I'm going to take Collins. Back on at 110. And, okay. Walker, we just took that. We just took our big run stuffer, though. Will Howard. You guys know I love Will Howard as a developmental quarterback. I'd be on board with him any day of the week. No Williams for cornerback. Gunnar, did we take it? We took Warren. Let's see. All right, so we're at 110. Okay. Did we take a safety? No. Mickens? Would you guys be open to Mickens? Mickens is interesting. Son of Ray Mickens. Just met with him at the Shrine Bowl. High motor, physical, solid in coverage, able to get downhill, stop the run. I really like RJ Mickens. Will Howard, my guy's a developmental quarterback. Jonas Senker is a very, very productive safety from Virginia. No Williams if you want to shore up some cornerback depth. I would say Gunnar Helm, but we took a tight end in the first round. It's between, for me, Mickens and Howard. I'm going to throw that poll in the chat. Mickens or Howard? I'm sure. I think Mickens is going to win here. So, poll's underway. Anyone can vote at the top of the chat. $20 seconds. I would lean towards Howard. I wouldn't hate Mickens, though, just because you need to shore up that safety depth. And I think Mickens could do that for your team. Mickens winning 100-0 with 7 seconds to go. Everyone vote, vote, vote at the poll at the top of the chat. There it is. And RJ Mickens comes away 100-0. Every single person who voted for RJ Mickens over Will Howard. So Mickens is the pick. Shore up some safety depth, and we're back on at 145. So where's Mickens? Boom, there he is. We'll take him. Kyle Williams still there. Okay. Kyle Williams is still there. For the poll, I'm going to do him or... I'll throw Ty Felton in there because I know a lot of people like Felton. So I'll say Ty Felton. Oh, no. Because we're doing a wide receiver already. So we'll do Kyle Williams or Seth McLaughlin for the interior. Alan says look at LB, though. So we'll do that before we put a poll up. Kobe King and Cody Simon. I really, really like Cody Simon. Because I think we can wait for them. I think we can really wait. Like, we can wait till our next pick to try to address linebacker. Here's what I'll do, though. I'll do Cody Simon and Kyle Williams at the poll. Simon. Cap says, what about Edge? We could check out Edge. Tyler Barron's a guy I really like. Again, he's kind of that do-it-all guy, can get you reps, can be productive for you as a pass rusher, stop against the run. Fadil Diggs, all right. For Edge, like maybe a guy like this, undrafted, maybe you'll look for Elijah Ponder, some of these later round names. Elijah Alston, excuse me, is a solid seventh round guy for your team. I think Tyler Barron's the best here. I just don't know if I want to take an edge right here. Actually, it's what we could do. We could do Barron and King in the poll since we already took a wide receiver. So we'll do Barron and King. I mean Simon and Barron. Excuse me. The poll is up if you want to vote at the top of the chat on who we will take. I'm okay taking either one. This team needs depth at both positions, although like you have a solid starter in Will McDonald off the edge. I think his season was overrated though a little. And then you got two really solid linebackers in Will McDonald and Jamie Sherwood and Quincy Williams, but you need to add depth at both those positions. And I think that this is where you look to do it. Barron, 67-33 lead with 4 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. There it is, folks. So you won, and Barron took it 66-33. All right, so Tyler Barron from Miami's the pick. I don't hate this at all. Provide you depth, stopping the run as a pass rusher, 6'5", 260. Nice NFL frame. Solid pick. We're right back on. And is Simon? Please tell me Simon's there. King and Simon are both there. Okay. So we can do Simon. Is Williams still there somehow? No, Williams went. We'll do Simon and Felton for the poll. See what you guys want. I would lean towards Simon here just because we took a wide receiver earlier, but I know a lot of people are really, really high on Ty Felton. In my eyes, though, I'm leaning more towards a guy like Cody Simon. Let's see. Let's get the poll ready and start it off. 30 seconds on the clock. Vote on the poll at the top of the chat. Who you want this team to take. Cody Simon or Ty Felton. Again, Simon's my pick here. You need linebacker help. We took a wide receiver earlier. Simon, a nice frame, someone who is going to be a solid tackler for you, someone who's going to be solid getting downhill for you and stopping the run. Ty Felton, like I was going to say on the flip side, solid receiver. We just use the high pick on a receiver. I don't really want to double up on the position when I feel comfortable on using a second rounder on Jaden Higgins. Plus, you also added the pass catcher in the first round and Tyler Warren. It's 50-50 though right now, so we'll give it another 30 seconds. Interesting. Vote at the poll on the top of the chat who you want them to pick. Like, you got 2 pass catchers in the high rounds in Tyler Warren in round 1, Jaden Higgins in round 2. Spruce it up, add some linebacker depth. Cody Simon does that. Everyone vote at the poll at the top of the chat on who you want the Jets to take. It's split 50-50 still with 3 seconds left. So one other person vote. One other person vote. And we'll have to put another 30 seconds on. Someone vote at the top of the chat, change the tiebreaker. Vote at the poll. 6 total votes. Again, Cody Simon would be my pick here to shore up some linebacker help. Looks like Felton took a 57-43 lead. But still, you got 6 seconds, Cody Simon. Let's go. Come on, prevail, Simon. Come back. 2, 1, no. Ty Felton, the pick. Again, I would much rather shore up the linebacker room than add a third pass catcher in this year's draft. But hey, it's your mock draft you guys wanted, so Ty Felton from Maryland will be the pick. Please say there's a linebacker here. Please say King or Simon are just somehow still available. Higgins. Jay Higgins from Iowa is someone I do really, really like. And I still want to fill that linebacker void. But at the same time, Kyle McCord's there. I'm going to do Higgins and McCord on the poll. We got 2 picks left. Poll's underway. Vote, vote, vote. Top of the chat, 20 seconds remaining. Who do you want the Jets to take? I'm leaning. Again, I still want to shore up that linebacker hole, like I've been talking about the last 3 picks. I love Kyle McCord. I would just rather shore up the linebacker hole than take a dart throw on a developmental quarterback. The approach we've taken here is fill as many holes as possible. You might as well stay true to that theme. And that's what we do here. Jay Higgins wins the poll 100-0. Oh, wait, no, 75-25. McCord got a vote last second. But Jay Higgins from Iowa will be the pick again. Great pick. Add some linebacker depth. Solid. I'm a big fan of Jay Higgins. So solidify that. And then one more pick. Not going to throw a wide receiver in there because we've already taken a handful of receivers. Let's look at a quarterback. I'll go Brady Cook and Ryan Fitzgerald. Those will be the 2 options in the poll. Brady Cook or Ryan Fitzgerald? That's what we'll end with here. Cook, Fitzgerald. A kicker or a quarterback? Who are we taking with our last draft pick? I'm leaning towards the kicker. I like Brady Cook. I think you can get a quarterback in undrafted free agency, though, if you really just want to bring someone in to compete. I would rather take the kicker, though, who was automatic, didn't miss a field goal last year. That's where I am right now. I would lean more towards Fitzgerald. I think you're gonna have I think there are gonna be some guys like a Seth Hannigan from Memphis, who's a solid player, or even potentially Brady Cook, guys you can get an undrafted free agency. I would rather take the kicker. But nope, you guys think the opposite. Brady Cook wins the poll, and we take a quarterback with our last draft pick. I gotta find him. Boom, Brady Cook, now a member of the NYJ. And let's see these grades overall. They don't like the first pick already. I advocated for Ted, we'll say that. Warren gets a B. Higgins with an A. Shout out everyone who wanted Higgins. Trapillo with a B. I love Trapillo. Alfred Collins with an A-. RJ Mickens with a D-. Oh god, Tyler Barron with a C-. Ty Felton A-. Higgins with an F. Cook with an A. And an overall grade of a B+. We just finished above average. Hey, I think they were being a little harsh there. I really like the way you guys formulated that mock draft and how we did it, and we filled every need. We added the developmental quarterback. I thought that was a really solid mock. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Smash the like, hit subscribe. Back tonight, 9:30 p.m. EST, with our guy Chris Grasso on Next Gen Jets. So stay tuned for that here on the show. 9:30 p.m. EST. And then we're back tomorrow at 10 a.m. EST. Jets X Factor's Joe Blewett joins us. And then we're back on tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Next Gen Jets, the weekly Sunday show. So a lot of content coming up here. So make sure you like the video and hit subscribe. Turn on post notifications to get notified when we're going live. But again, really, I can't thank you guys enough for all your support. And I can't thank you enough for tuning in here on the show. As always, that'll do it for me. I'm your host, Connor Long, signing off here on the program. JETS, 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 Jets.